Welcome back. This is the Premier League preview show on Citi TV. My name is Nathan Kwame. My guest, Kwame Safo, Emmanuel Nubo, they are both in studio. Susu Graham joining us via the Zoom. Emmanuel, let me take your thoughts on this one. Liverpool, Newcastle. It's always an exciting game. Yeah. Very, very exciting at Anfield. Most of the time, Liverpool wins. I've not seen a Newcastle win at Anfield.
I don't think. In 27 visits,
27 visits, they are yet to win. And after losing to Nottingham Forest, the heat is on them. They need to find a performance at Anfield. So let's first talk about the Newcastle side of things. We'll come to Liverpool. It's a very horrible time to go to Anfield, isn't it? You just got done 3-1 at home by Nottingham Forest. You have to go to Anfield. And
not to take anything away from Nottingham Forest, they were very impressive in that game. And for me personally, I didn't know Chris Wood was such a good finisher. All 3 goals were exceptionally taken.
Yeah, they were very good goals.
For Newcastle, I remember saying last season that it could be that Champions League football came in too early for them.
Okay.
Just judging by how they escaped, let me say, they escaped relegation the season before this, I think top 4 came in a bit too early for them. And that has been their undoing this season. The pressure of playing in the Champions League, the high-octane football they are playing, and then now injuries, and they having to play on Wednesday, Saturday. That's something majority of that squad is not used to. And even those who are used to it are unavailable, like Tonali and 1 or 2 other players. So for them, I would say they are punching above their weight, and that has been their undoing. And you can clearly see that the players seem very tired. If you watch Bruno Guimaraes, his last 4 or 5 performances, he hasn't been impressive. And Newcastle have lost 4 of their last 5 games. Yeah. The only win they've had is against Fulham, and they've lost to teams below them. Yep. So they are very good at home actually, and that's why nobody expected them to lose against Nottingham Forest. So it's really a bad time for them to travel. For them, they'll need to find a way to stop conceding, and that's the prime thing. And I remember saying earlier in the season that in as much as Guimaraes has been playing in that number 6 role, he's not a DM. And if they wanted to move further forward, if they wanted to have a solid team to constantly challenge for top 4, they would need someone who is more like a destroyer. Break up play and then give it to them. And because now Guimaraes, because of the demands attacking-wise and defensively, he's not being at his best. Yeah. And that's an imbalance in that team. Tonali is also not available. So for Newcastle, I don't know how they'll stop the rot, because going to Anfield is a daunting start. Right. I mean, for Liverpool, after back-to-back draws against United and Arsenal, they bounced back against Burnley. And yes, VAR reduced the scoreline one way or the other, but I really want to go there. So for Newcastle, I do think that they will have to find it in within them to make it harder for them to get beat. Yes, there have been some impressive performances from players like Miley and Longstaff. They have some returning players from injury, so I think they would have to galvanize that squad. Go to Anfield. You look at the Manchester United template, somewhat the Arsenal template. Make it as difficult as possible for Liverpool. Okay. Do not concede within the first 15 or 20 minutes, else it throws the game plan out of the window, and it could be a long night for them. If they can stop the rot, I do think they can salvage something, and then January see who they can bring in, and then be on that trajectory for the new year.
All right, so let me get your thoughts on Newcastle and Eddie Howe. It's been a very rotting few weeks for them. Like Emmanuel said, 4 losses out of 5. They got absolutely done by Chris Wood, an ex-Newcastle player, in the last game. What's the plan for Anfield? A ground where lots of the better teams have struggled to cope. How can Eddie Howe get his boys to stay afloat in that game at Anfield?
I think Nubo has really said it all, that this is a team that it looks like they are a bit tired. Look, we're giving them all their props for overachieving when Eddie Howe joined, that they only signed Bruno Guimaraes. They started flying up the table. A full season with him, playing once a week. They got to the Carabao Cup final. They finished in the top 4. So their regression is not unexpected. It's difficult to play those extra games in the Champions League. Now look at the injury crisis they are facing. It's very difficult. I don't know how they can really stop Liverpool. I believe the only hope they can have is that the bar Darwin Núñez shows up. And Darwin Núñez's goal just summarizes everything about him. This is a player you can see there's talent. Yeah. He can make things happen. But more often than not, he's just, I don't know what possesses him or what happens. It's just like he has a brain fart and just makes some crazy decisions and mistakes. Because look, I was watching a video just a few days ago about all the chances Salah has created in the Premier League. that kind of thing. And there's a lot of them where Dan Nunes is on the end of them. And if Dan Nunes played a normal game, they didn't call it a normal game, he would have scored half of those. But more often than not, I don't know what possesses him. He just, it's very unfortunate because there's a player there. Cody Gakpo is really struggling. Diaz, I believe, is injured now. He wasn't really there. Jota is back. He scored. So the Liverpool front line, again, look, it looks like every team that we are talking about in the title race, the front line is just, you don't know which front line will appear on which day. The only consistent player for Liverpool has been Salah. He keeps showing up. He keeps creating chances. If he's not creating chances, he's scoring. But the rest of his teammates, you can't be sure which ones will show up. So that's what Newcastle have to hope and pray, that Salah is feeding people who don't feel like scoring on the day, and they are able to get the chances they'll get. Because Liverpool do always give up a chance or two. They concede the first goal very regularly, then they rouse themselves and get that comeback because they will create those chances. But if you take your chances and you are lucky, because that is all it is against Liverpool, because the chances will come. You can't stop it. It's inevitable. So you just have to hope that they are on their bad day and you get results. So that's what I can say. And it's very unfortunate we are seeing this for a lot of the teams, but this is a pattern we are seeing with a lot of the top teams. They will create. It's just that whether they want to score on the day, which is in question. There's very few days where they'll come and they won't create anything. So for me, I believe Liverpool, they look a bit more fallible because you always know that there's that goal to be conceded. And we know that, look, right now, Robertson is not around. We know Trent is going to move into midfield. So there's a lot of pressure on Van Dijk and Konate because Matip is also out for the season. Joe Gomez has come in and done very well, but there's a lot of pressure on Van Dijk and whoever he's playing with to control the game. They have the best keeper in the Premier League behind them, luckily for them, which also helps a lot. But the chance will come and you have to take it. So Newcastle do have a chance, but on the probability, I expect them to lose it and lose it badly.
Interesting one. So let's start the Liverpool side of things. We've seen them through December. They've played some good football. Yeah. Earlier in the month, there was some European football they had to deal with, and I think that they deal with the Europa League games very quickly, easily. They've had Fulham, they've had Man United, they've played West Ham in the League Cup, they've played Arsenal, very good.
Arsenal, United,
Burnley. If you are Jurgen Klopp and you look at Newcastle and the kind of run they are on, how will you perceive Newcastle as a team that's hoping to come to Anfield and maybe do a West Ham from last night? Or you look at Newcastle and say that they are under pressure, they probably can't stand the heat, so let's just go out there, get goals and go home and sleep?
As a manager of Jurgen Klopp's caliber, you take each game as if it's your last game. You go for the kill. I don't think Jurgen Klopp is going to go into this game thinking Newcastle are coming for some honky-dory tour on Anfield and go. They want the win as well. So as Jurgen Klopp, you look at this game like Newcastle wants the win, but we have to show them we are better than them. They just started coming to the Champions League since the 90s. We've been doing this. We won it in 2019. And it's also the opportunity for certain players to show that they do belong. Because now Jurgen Klopp has a plethora of attackers to choose from. What is going to be the perfect combination? We know Salah is a constant. Is it going to be Gakpo, Diaz, Jota, Diaz, Gakpo, Nunes? It's sort of a justified. So, and you see Jota coming in, then you see that the efficiency Nunes was lacking. Jota is providing. Look at the angle he scored from.
I think Jota is even more efficient than Mohamed Salah. I'm not going to lie. Just based on the chances they get.
For a very short player,
for me, I think Jota is very efficient.
Yeah, and for a very short player, he's also good in the air.
Yeah.
So if I'm down with Nunes, they bought you with good money. I remember when Darwin Nunes came in the Premier League, it was, he's going to be better than Haaland. That was a rivalry that was dead on arrival. Yeah. So it's an opportunity for players to put their foot forward. It's just like everyone has poo-pooed on Newcastle in this analysis. I mean, you can't blame them. They are heavily dependent on a player like Anthony Gordon, who they didn't even have last season. And I remember there was one game they played in the midweek, and Eddie Howe said, the kid can't run. He can't run anymore. He's virtually played almost every game. He can't run. You have Isak going in and out, Wilson coming in and out. You can never trust a player like Miguel Almiron. Joe Willock, who could have given them a stability in the middle, is also not there. They have to depend on an 18-year-old Miley. Longstaff, who
also
is
in and out.
Yeah, Longstaff is the kind of player you use during relegation battle and things like that. It's not. I don't think that was the vision going into this season. So yes, they are wounded, but we've seen a lot of funny things happen in the Premier League. You wouldn't think Leeds were going to be that team to have ended Liverpool's. So it's a game they cannot joke about, and I think currently, just like we've said, even if City wins their game in hand, they are 2-3 points behind Liverpool. You would want to make emphasis. You would want to make a statement that you are and this is an interesting statistic for you. So per ESPN, Liverpool are 8 points behind based on VAR decisions. Wow. They're a team who would not want. They always have these compilations about how in previous seasons refereeing decisions didn't go for them. That's why they couldn't win the league. They would need to put that behind them, and then the time is now. Make a statement, win. And because in your previous two games you were expected to beat Manchester United, you didn't beat Manchester United.
And they drew it.
You were 4 against 1 Declan Rice, and you missed it. And Arsenal fans are now saying Declan Rice is something. So the onus is on Liverpool, and I don't think they are going to disappoint. Just like the guys have said, I've always said I don't believe in stats because the game is what happens there. But this time, if no one, Liverpool should take the lead.
All right, Emmanuel. Just finally, if you are Jurgen Klopp, would you start thinking about what happens to the front line without Mo Salah? Would you bench Mo Salah just to see what he has, for the next month?
I don't think he'll do that. Mohamed Salah hates to sit on the bench. He hates to even come off. Even when you are winning 7-0, he doesn't want to come off. And I think he would want to leave for the AFCON with at least a goal or something. So for me, I think he's going to play. He's probably going to play 90 minutes and get it over and done with, and then he leaves for the AFCON. For Jurgen Klopp, I think he'll be very happy that Diogo Jota is back, because you can't trust Gakpo, you can't trust Nunes. Outside Salah, I think Jota is the more consistent player. For me, as I said, I think he's a very efficient finisher. Left foot, right foot in there, even for his height, as Kwame Safu said. So I think Jurgen Klopp plays him. Now, Jota, the issue is, can he remain fit?
That's the issue.
Yes, because
so would you want Klopp to give him a start or another run off the bench?
It's a wounded Newcastle. I think he should start him. Diaz hasn't really been himself. With the whole kidnapping with his dad and everything, he hasn't really shown the promise he earlier shown last season and 2 seasons before that. You don't really know what you are going to get from Gakpo or Nunes. So for me, I think in a game where you want to make a statement, especially with a team that is somewhere in and around close to you, you would want to put your best foot for it. So for me, Diaz starts, Salah starts. Probably Nunes or Gakpo in the middle, whoever it is.
See, Klopp's got big decisions to make ahead of that game. It's Liverpool versus Newcastle at Anfield, coming up this weekend as the 2023 calendar year wraps itself up, or as we draw the curtains on that one.